Hello friends, today we will be seeing the osteological features of the hip bone. We have already seen the morphological features. Now we will see what are the attachments to the hip bone. Now what we see here is the right sided hip bone, and let us now see the attachments of the ilium. We will start with the anterior superior iliac spine. This gives attachment to one muscle and one ligament. The muscle is sartorius and the ligament is the inguinal ligament. The anterior inferior iliac spine also gives attachment to one ligament and one muscle. The muscle here is the straight head of rectus femoris and the ligament is the iliofemoral ligament. We then go on to see the attachments of the iliac crest. Iliac crest is divided into the anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3. Anterior 2/3 on the outer aspect anteriorly gives attachment to the fascia lata and the tensor fascia lata muscle. Outer lip gives attachment to the external oblique muscle. The intermediate lip gives attachment to the internal oblique muscle, and the inner lip gives attachment to the transversus abdominis muscle. The junction between the anterior 2/3 and the posterior 1/3 on the outer aspect gives attachment to latissimus dorsi, while on the inner aspect it gives attachment to the quadratus lumborum. While the posterior 1/3 outer slope gives attachment to gluteus maximus and the inner slope gives attachment to the erector spinae group of muscles. Then we go on to see the muscles attached on the gluteal surface. Gluteal surface, we have said, has three gluteal lines: the inferior gluteal line, the anterior gluteal line and the posterior gluteal line. The area behind the posterior gluteal line gives attachment to gluteus maximus. The area between the posterior and the anterior gluteal line gives attachment to gluteus medius, while the area between the anterior and inferior gluteal lines gives attachment to gluteus minimus. This area just above the acetabulum gives attachment to the reflected head of the rectus femoris muscle. Then we go on to see the attachments on the iliac fossa. Iliac fossa gives attachment to iliacus. Arcuate line gives attachment to psoas minor muscle. We then go on to the sacropelvic surface. The iliac tuberosity gives attachment to the interosseous sacroiliac ligament, dorsal sacroiliac ligament and the iliolumbar ligament. The apex of the greater sciatic notch gives attachment to some fibers of piriformis. We then go on to see the attachments to the pubis bone. The pubic tubercle gives attachment to the inguinal ligament. Just medial to it, this area gives attachment to rectus abdominis and pyramidalis. The pectine pubis gives attachment to pectineus. The body of the pubis on the anterior surface gives attachment to adductor longus, gracilis, adductor brevis and obturator externus, while the posterior surface of the body of pubis gives attachment to sphincter urethrae and levator ani muscles. The obturator foramen on the inner aspect is covered by the obturator membrane, which has got a free upper border, thus forming the obturator foramen through which the obturator nerve and vessels pass. Inner aspect of the obturator membrane as well as the obturator foramen gives origin to obturator internus, which then travels backwards, and while doing so also takes few fibers taking origin from the inner aspect of the ischial spine. The outer aspect of the obturator membrane and the obturator foramen gives attachment to obturator externus muscle. The outer aspect of the ischiopubic ramus gives attachment to adductor magnus. We then move on to see the muscle attachments on the ischium. The quadrate tubercle on the body of the ischium gives attachment to quadratus femoris muscle. The ischial spine above and below gives attachment to superior gemellus and inferior gemellus, while the spine gives attachment to few fibers of obturator internus. We then go on to see the ischial tuberosity. Ischial tuberosity is divided by a horizontal line into upper and lower parts. Upper part is then divided by an oblique line into a superolateral part and inferomedial part. Superolateral part gives attachment to semimembranosus, while inferomedial part gives attachment to semitendinosus and the long head of biceps femoris. The lower part is divided by a vertical line into medial part and lateral part. The lateral part gives attachment to the hamstrings part of adductor magnus, while the medial part is covered by fibrofatty tissue. The greater and lesser sciatic notches are converted into greater and lesser sciatic foramen by the sacrotuberous and sacrospinous ligaments. What are the structures passing through the greater sciatic foramen? These are the piriformis muscle, the sciatic nerve, the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, the nerve to obturator internus, nerve to quadratus femoris, pudendal nerve, internal pudendal vessels, superior gluteal nerve and vessels, and inferior gluteal nerve and vessels. What are the structures which pass through the lesser sciatic foramen? These are the pin structures, PIN, pudendal nerve, internal pudendal vessels, and nerve to obturator internus. We then go on to see the acetabulum. The rim of the acetabulum gives attachment to the acetabular labrum, while the acetabular notch is bridged by the transverse acetabular ligament. Thus, we have seen the muscles attached to the hip bone. What are the joints formed by this bone? This bone forms three joints. The medial surface of the pubis forms the pubic symphysis with the opposite hip bone. This pubic symphysis is a symphysis, that is, it's a secondary cartilaginous type of joint. The acetabulum forms the hip joint with the head of the femur, and that's a simple ball and socket type of synovial joint. The auricular surface on the sacropelvic surface forms the sacroiliac joint with the sacrum, and that is a plain synovial type of joint. These are the three joints formed by the hip bone. Thus, we have seen the muscle and ligament attachments of the bone and the joints formed by the hip bone. Thank you.